Everyone's arguing open AI versus closed AI. Wrong fight. The real one is whether personal computing in the machine you own and actually control quietly disappears and nobody's watching. Nobody's going to watch. That part isn't an accident either. The dream was Linux for AI. Download the model, audit it, run it on your own hardware, and it's real. Llama, DeepSeek, Qwen, all run at home. Good enough for most of what companies actually need. So how does the closed side win? Two forces, and both wear the same friendly little word, safety. First, the law. And the big labs go to Washington and ask out loud with a straight face to please regulate them. Sit with that. Nobody asked to be regulated. You ever hear a kid beg for a curfew? They're not scared of the rules. They wrote the rules. The rules are the moat. And when somebody says it won't work, China will just ignore it. No, sure, correct, true. But stopping China was never the point. The point was you. Price the access high enough, and the little guys locked out while all the real compute pools into about 4 buildings because it's a big club, and you ain't in it. You're not in the club. You're not the bouncer. You're the guy out front, renting the velvet rope to the people walking in. The second force doesn't even need a law. You don't ban the alternative. You price it out. Nobody bricks your GPU. The build-out needs silicon at a scale that makes the entire consumer market a rounding error, so the data centers buy all of it. Prices climb, supply dries up, and owning a computer quietly becomes renting one. No kill switch, just a bill that never stops. And here's where they really earn their money, the language. They are not going to say, we're taking your computer away. That makes people reach for pitchforks. They're going to say it's safer, and you'll go, well, okay, when you put it that way, that's the con. That's the whole con. Nobody argues with safer. You can't. Try it. Stand up at a dinner party and announce, I would like the dangerous computer, please, and watch the room decide you've lost it. So a machine that can run anything becomes a risk is deemed by your Lord and mighty, and the safe one is the locked one, the rented one. The one that phones home and asks permission before it does a single thing. They don't ban ownership. They just make it embarrassing. Same trick with the product. They're not selling you a subscription. No, it's personal AI. Personal. It's yours. It's just in Virginia, in a building you will never be allowed to enter, doing God knows what. But personal. It's the exact same reason the bank doesn't call it a 30-year debt you'll die still owing. They call it a home loan. You don't own the home. You owe the home. Meanwhile, Gamers Nexus spends 3.5 hours laying out the receipts, memory at record highs, consumer GPUs vanishing into data centers, an actual chapter titled, and I'm not kidding, The End of Ownership, and nobody notices. Nobody cares. They're busy. Why this kills the open dream specifically? Linux only won because the hardware was cheap and it was yours. Take that away and the open models survive as software you can't afford to run and aren't allowed to. A museum piece, they don't take the model, they take the machine. Some of this is just gravity. $1 trillion does what $1 trillion does. And some of it is the owners writing the rules to bury everyone underneath them, behind a word you're not permitted to argue with. Both point the same direction. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. We're going to be relieved. Owning stuff is work. The thing breaks, it's your problem. Rent it, and it's somebody else's problem, and you just pay forever and feel taken care of. We are going to subscribe to our own thoughts and tip extra for the privilege. You'll be allowed to own the intelligence. You just won't be able to afford to run it or be trusted to. Rent everything, own nothing, watch the hardware. That's where it's already being decided. They're not going to take it from you. That's the trick. They're going to get you to hand it over, smiling, relieved, grateful for the help, because somebody in a quarter zip said the magic word, safe. Same way they took your movies. Remember owning a movie, a shelf full of them? Now you rent it back every month, and they can reach in and delete it while you sleep. You didn't lose that fight. You never knew it was a fight. You just kept clicking, accept. Take care of your hardware, folks. It's about to be the last thing in this whole story that was ever yours.